If you currently have a job and you want to start a business, an online business, an offline business, whatever it is, you just want to get out of your job and you're sort of starting to toss around different business models. You've been on YouTube looking for different ways of making money and how you could sort of quit your job and go down that path. I'm making this video for you. I'm trying to make this video as if it was me watching it, almost 10 years ago when I quit my job. So that's kind of the angle I'm taking. So I'm going to go through some questions that you can ask yourself so you can sort of start to discern what will suit you, what won't suit you, what's best for your personality, really. Because there's, as you know, like if you've been on YouTube and you've been down that rabbit hole, there is millions or many thousands of different ways you can make money. But it's really just a matter of whittling that down to what's going to suit you and your personality. So so that's how I'm going to run through this video. Shouldn't go too long. And look, I used to be a welder. I was a welder for almost 12 years, and it was a hot, grueling job that I really didn't enjoy, and I dreamt of getting out of that job for a long time. So I know the pain of people sort of working jobs that they don't like. By all means, there are plenty of people that have jobs that they really love. Maybe they just want to do something on the side. So this video would work for you as well. But yeah, I did used to be a welder, and I managed to sort of create some online income streams, some little businesses, and then sort of later on, like now, the last sort of 6, 7, 8 years, I do sort of more e-commerce and online stuff. So that's a little bit from me. So let's get right into it. How to choose a business model as a beginner. So I've had a ton of failures. I don't call them failures. I put them in inverted commas because I look at them as learning. Okay, so I mean, you might look at it as failing because maybe you didn't make money, you didn't succeed, you weren't able to quit your job with something that you did, but you learned something. So it's always easy to look back and sort of say, oh yeah, it was a failure, but realistically it got you to sort of where you are. So it's easy for me to look back on my path, and at the time I thought, oh man, I'm a loser, I couldn't make this work or whatever. But looking back, I can sort of start to link things and see that, oh yeah, this is why this happened. It happened because it needed to happen that way. But yeah, like the first one, there's more than this, but this is all I could come up with sort of quickly, is buying a credit repair website off Flipper. So me and a mate did this. So this was many years ago. He knew a little bit about websites. I knew nothing. Like I literally couldn't even copy and paste. I'm not even joking. I didn't know the difference between cut and paste and copy and paste. I literally had no idea. And this was our first foray into it. I believe it cost us about $400. And we bought it off Flipper. Literally had no idea what we were doing. And the seller told us it was making some money on AdSense or whatever, and it was just stupid. Like it was completely pointless, and it literally went nowhere. I created a blog. Now that was a success, I guess you could call it. Like I did it for probably several years, writing blog posts and all the stuff that goes along with it. And but I don't have that blog anymore, so I probably should have kept it. And but yeah, that was certainly a something like a learning process that I learned how to write online and get traffic and all that kind of stuff. I also bought a princess jumping game app off Flipper as well. It was making some money again. I think I maybe made $200 total in a whole year of owning it, and then I canned it. I've had a lot of e-commerce stores that I've started, also purchased a few, had plenty of success with that. That's my main thing that I do currently now, building, buying, and all that kind of thing. But I've had lots that have failed. So I've had more that have failed than have succeeded. So I've closed a lot over the time. Courses, I've made courses and mini courses and all that kind of thing. A lot of those have just failed, gone nowhere. Spent money getting people to help me do them, and that was not a scam, but a lot of wasted money just not knowing what I was doing. Automated crypto trading. So when I say automated, it was kind of like a company that did it for you. Again, I had some money. I just wanted to try it out, and it was. I mean, if you kept with it long term, it would probably be fine. But I've since learned that it's not something I want to do, not something where I want to put my capital, and I don't like the lack of control. Starting an agency as well. Again, this was, I guess, a small success, but really only because of the connections that I had. And, overall, it was a learning process. And I kind of learned actually that I don't really like that business model. I'm not really into the client-facing type thing as much, or that specific agency type model. But yeah, I learned things, and all of these things I learned things from, like a lot of things from, but it was, and there's more that would go on that list if I could think of them. But yeah, it really all sort of brought me to where I am today. So anyway, let's move on to questions to ask yourself first. Okay, so this is where it really, really starts. Look at your lifestyle now. What would integrate best in your life? Like, what does your current sort of day-to-day look like? What is your job? Like, is your job Monday to Friday, 8 to 5? Or do you do like weird hours? Maybe you're in the mines, you do 4 weeks on, 4 weeks off, like all this kind of thing. You need to sort of just keep that in mind as you're looking at different business models. Where is your effort going to go? Can you see yourself doing this for at least several years? So it's all about effort. It's not really about, I cover this a little bit further down, but it's not about your passion. It's where is your effort going to go? Can you see yourself actually putting in, 10 hours a day or 8 hours a day or 4 hours a day while you're getting started and seeing no progress? Because that's what it's all about. You don't, it's not just some beautiful sort of stair-stepping process. There's a lot of going forwards and then a lot of going backwards. So where will your actual effort and work ethic go? Sometimes you've got to try things before you know that. Other times you'll know before you even try them. What's your strengths and weaknesses? So like I said before, myself trying a client-facing business, not my strengths. I kind of like working a little bit more behind the scenes on those kinds of things. So what's your strengths and weaknesses? Do you just need money ASAP, or do you have time to muck around trying things? So a lot of business gurus will tell you, you shouldn't focus on the money. You should focus on the goal or the problem you're trying to fix. That's all well and good. But if you have bills to pay and you are super unhappy and angry in your job, you just need something that pays money. I'm so totally sick of all these YouTube gurus that say that kind of thing, where you should do something you have passion for and something where don't worry about the money, it'll come later. That's all well and good, but if you've got that big weekly costs, overheads, mortgages, rent, food, just like everyone, you got to make money. And sometimes you're going to have to do things slower or quicker, depending on how much sort of time you've got and what those costs are. Does it have ability to scale? So the business model you're looking at, like, let's just say, for instance, you want to start a mowing business, okay, which I think is actually a great business. But if you never want to hire anybody, then it's only going to be ever you doing it, and we'll go through that a little bit more further down in this video, but can it sort of scale? Again, I can't think of anything off the top of my head, but there's lots of different things that are much sort of a harder business to scale, especially if you're not willing or want to, or you probably can't even fathom hiring somebody at this stage. But again, don't worry about that too much. Ability to scale, you really shouldn't have to take that into account much. I just thought I'd put it in there because if you are thinking long term, maybe you already have something sort of in mind, and you're sort of thinking down the track, which is great. Then you are thinking that. Capital or no capital, have you got money or not, or got no money? Do you have to start something with low funds? So these are all things you need to take into account. A few notes: you will fail, but you have to put the reps in, so get them in as quick as you can. Again, I say fail in inverted commas, but you just have to, it's called learning. So you just got to just try and do it faster. Just try and, just try and speed up that process of trying things. But in saying that, you don't want to be dabbling. You want to be going all in. And you might start something that you weren't super interested in. So you've identified a business model, a problem that you want to solve, and you might not be that interested in it, but you get into it, you start making some money, and you find good at it, and then you start to enjoy it. It's funny how if you start making money at something, you start to have more, get more fulfillment from it. So you can often find that. Now, I said this further above, you do not need passion, you need effort. So you don't have to love the specific business model. It has to suit you, but you don't have to love it. And you don't have to love the business niche that you go into as well. But you have to know that your effort is going to go in there to achieve the desired outcome, which is obviously income. And all the different business models, there's often a trade-off between location freedom, the physical amount of work that you have to do, whether it's actually physically outside using your hands, or physically at a computer, the amount of money you can earn, like if you wanted to work it out like per hourly rate or product-based rate, how much competition there is, and the ability to scale. So all business models are going to have a varying degree of that, and you need to sort of weigh up what's more important to you. And again, is this a dying or growing business model industry? You're probably going to know that already. And if it's an online business, like in a specific industry, it'd have to be a specific industry or niche. If it's not really going anywhere, obviously that's going to slow you down. Ideally, you want to jump on things that are growing, not necessarily a trend that will go out of fashion, but something that is growing. So where to from here? So I always talk about low risk entrepreneurship, which is kind of like low cost, low overheads, high upside potential, not super hard to start. But if you've got capital, maybe you've got some experience, then maybe those things are okay for you. But low risk is really just means a higher chance of success. That's kind of how I look at it. So online or offline, like you probably know by now, absolutely 100% online, or you'd consider offline, like I said before, like a mowing business, just to get yourself out of the workforce and working for yourself. So how important is that to you? Physical location or location free as well? So is it important that you can work from a laptop anywhere in the world, or are you okay with having a location and, being at that location? Nothing wrong with that, because I always used to think that I didn't want that when I was trying to get out of the workforce. Oh no, I've got to have an online business and all this kind of thing. But you can have someone run that business for you. You can have a physical business and have someone run it for you. So try not to limit yourself too much with that. Physical inventory, so stock, machines, or service-based. So like stock obviously could be like a product-based business, or like machines or stock and machines, something like, like a vending machine business. You have stock and a machine, and it's a physical location. Okay, so they're all three. That's all very physically based, all very manual work. But maybe that sounds really appealing to you. Or a service-based business. So again, this could be, and just so you know, like physical inventory or service-based businesses, both of these can be online and offline. So service-based online could be, being a freelancer, website design, graphic design, whatever, video editing. Service-based, obviously, offline, mowing, handyman, anything like that. And then physical inventory, you can have e-commerce, and for online, and then offline, you can have, like I said before, like vending machines and that kind of thing. Is there recurring income? I wouldn't worry about this. This is great. This is the dream everybody thinks about. But it's I wouldn't make it so that it has to be one of your criteria. It's kind of like a bonus if it is. but there are other things that can outweigh that. Buy a business. Like, honestly, buying a business, if you don't have much experience with business, can be a great path. But again, there's a lot of risks with that as well, especially if you're using debt. But you can buy like cheap online businesses, cheap offline businesses. You can easily buy like a mowing run, that kind of thing. Again, you got to weigh up all these decisions. But this could be a good path, something that's already making money for you, far less risky in terms of having to make money to pay your personal overheads. Platform or no platform. So Amazon, eBay, Airbnb, arbitrage business, and selling stuff on Amazon, eBay. That's a platform. So you have less control with it. Selling on Amazon is actually how I got out of my job. I was selling books on Amazon. So digital books, physical books, and audio books. So I would actually get ghostwriters to write those books, and then we'd put them online, and then we'd put them out in those 3 different formats. And I scaled that up, and that was actually how I left my job as a welder. And it was really good. It was great. I could work from anywhere. It was awesome. Still a pretty cool business model that people do now. However, less control, and probably, I don't know, 2-3 years after, some other publisher did some kind of underhanded thing and got my accounts deleted, basically. So I went almost to zero, and I had no control. You just get the emails. Is about, they thought that I was trying to, I think it was something like they thought I was trying to, my books were not mine, like fraudulently not mine, which was not true, of course. They were all my books, all written by my ghostwriters and all wholly owned by me. So it was absolutely ridiculous. But that's the stupid thing about some platforms, is they'll just take the other person's point of view, I guess, because they just go and contact them, and it's a ridiculous system. It was a horrible, stressful time, and that can happen and does happen. So I'm always just so wary and scared of platforms myself. I do recommend using them because they're actually a really good way to start, because that's where all the people are, all the buyers are. And that's actually how, like publishing books, that's how I learned how to do keyword research and ranking things and all that kind of cool stuff, which will help you online, which will also help an offline business. If you have a website for your offline business, really good skills to learn. So I would recommend that platforms are an okay place to start, but you just got to keep some of those things in mind. That's all. Another point here is maybe you don't want or need a business, you just need income. And I've got trading here, so you can learn how to trade cryptocurrency, Forex, whatever. So that's another thing. Like, it's always something that's intrigued me. You don't have to deal with customers, you don't have to deal with people. You're just dealing with, basically an algorithm, I guess. So that's another thing. Is there a way you can just earn income some other way? It doesn't have to be a business. So again, trading is that's a high degree of failure, and you need some money, and it's kind of a slow thing to get started, but it's another thing to sort of just think about. Try not to get overwhelmed. It's you go down this rabbit hole of looking at businesses and stuff, and ideas and income models. You're going to get overwhelmed, but go through these questions, start whittling it down to you've probably got like an idea, a list of 10, 20, 15 different things that are interesting to you, and you can start to sort of get an idea of what's going to be good, what's not good for you. But I would say just don't half-ass it. Okay, you got to go all in on an idea. If you're going to go start, publishing books on Amazon, go all in and do it properly, and take a course. I've got that written down here. Take a course and sort of learn from somebody that's done it and they've already sort of taken that path. And it's kind of like the best way to learn, I think. There's a lot of, obviously, scammy type people selling courses out there. But I mean, if you do your research, find a good one, find a good person to learn from, you should be fine. Yeah, use ChatGPT for ideas. So that's a great thing now. Like you can go to ChatGPT. You could answer all these questions, put them into ChatGPT and say, hey, here's my strengths, here's my weaknesses, this is what I want, this is what I don't want, and offline, online, all this kind of thing. And then it'll pump out all these ideas. And I find with ChatGPT, you've got to be very specific how you prompt it. You've got to talk very specifically, and you might have to go through a few iterations, but it really is a great way to start getting ideas at least, and start thinking of things that you wouldn't have even thought of. And yeah, like I said, you've probably already gone down this path of YouTube, but yeah, get onto YouTube. I would look at YouTube just to get the ideas spinning. And like I said, take a course or a program, or learn from somebody that's done what you want to do, and go from there. So I hope in some way this has helped. I know this is not a list of actual business models. That would be a whole other thing, and that would be probably a massive video, because there's just so many things you can do. I'm always making my own lists of things that interest me, and different business models and niches and that kind of thing. But if you want to see a video like that, maybe just comment below, and I could potentially do a video like that. So hope it helps in some way. Any comments, questions, leave them below. And if you like this kind of content, subscribe for more.